Planning your first Disney cruise? Trust me, it's not as simple as you might think. Between booking out activities, secret onboard tips, and avoiding a few rookie mistakes that could ruin your magical adventure, there's a lot you need to know. After our first Disney cruise, we walked away with a list of things we wish someone had told us before we set sail. Stick around, because if you want your Disney cruise to be as magical as it's supposed to be, you're not going to want to miss this. Hey y'all, I'm Evan with Family at Sea, where we help families like yours make every cruise unforgettable. Whether you're a first-time cruiser or a seasoned Disney pro, welcome. Today we're talking all about the things we wish we knew before our first Disney cruise. From booking secrets to saving money on board, there's a lot that can make or break your experience. So if you want to skip the stress and make your cruise as magical as possible, stick around, because we're diving into all the tips you need to know before you set sail. So if you're ready, I am. Let's go. First up, and this one's huge. Guys, just take it easy. I know it's Disney, and the temptation is to schedule every second of your trip with activities, character meet and greets, and events, but trust me on this, overloading your schedule can turn the magic into stress real fast. You don't have to do everything to have an amazing time. Leave some time to just relax, explore the ship, and enjoy those spontaneous moments. Some of our best memories weren't the things we planned, but the things we just stumbled upon. So keep the schedule light and soak in the magic as it comes. Let's talk about one of the biggest surprises for first-time Disney cruisers. Things book fast. And I mean really fast. If you've got your heart set on something like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, the Royal Gathering, or a private cabana on Castaway Key, you might find that they're already booked up, especially if you're not staying in concierge. For the Royal Gathering, it opens for booking at midnight 30 days before you set sail. So if this is on your must-do list, you'll need to be ready to book the second it becomes available. But if you miss out, don't worry, you'll still have plenty of chances to catch characters and snap some amazing photos on the ship. And here's a tip. People cancel all the time, so keep checking as your cruise gets closer, and you never know when a spot might just open up. Now the cabanas, those are a different story. Those are pretty much exclusively reserved for concierge guests and top-tier Castaway Club members. And to be honest, not even all of them that want one are able to get one. So don't get your hopes up on this, because odds are your first Disney cruise, you're probably not going to be getting one. Speaking of things filling up fast, let's talk about the character photo ops. Now, I get it. Meeting your favorite Disney characters is a big deal, but those lines, they can get extremely long. It's easy to spend hours just waiting, which means missing out on a good chunk of your cruise if you're not careful. So here's the strategy. Instead of trying to meet every single character, pick one or two that are the most important to you and plan to get in that line early. That way, you're more likely to get your photo without losing a big chunk of your day. And here's a little secret. Sometimes you'll spot characters just walking around the ship when you least expect it. Those moments can be great for a quick photo without the wait. So prioritize wisely and you'll get that magical moment and have time to enjoy the rest of the ship. Up next, let's talk about something that's hard to accept for some of us, especially on a Disney cruise. You won't get to do it all. There's just so much happening on the ship, from character meet and greets to shows, themed parties, and activities for all ages. And if you're on a shorter 3 or 4 day cruise, it's impossible to experience everything. But here's the good news. You don't have to. The key is to pick a few must-dos and focus on enjoying those rather than stressing about what you might miss. By focusing on the highlights that matter the most to you, you'll have a much more enjoyable and memorable cruise. If you watched any of my other videos, you probably knew this tip would show up at some point. That's because it's so important. It's easy to get caught up in all the planning, expectations, and excitement, especially on a Disney cruise. But remember, things will not always go exactly as planned, and that's okay. The key is to have the right mindset. Focus on making memories, not on checking off every activity or event. Hey y'all, if this has been helpful for you, if you please take a quick moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel, it would mean the absolute world to me as I get started on this YouTube journey. So with that out of the way, let's get back to it. If you're looking to add a little extra magic to your cruise, fish extenders are a fantastic way to do it. So what are they exactly? Fish extenders are part of an onboard gift exchange organized by other cruisers before you even set sail. You'll hang a little bag or pocketed organizer outside your stateroom door on the fish-shaped hooks where you get your mail. And throughout the cruise, people from your fish extender group will drop off small gifts for you and your family. It's a fun, community-driven activity, and our kids absolutely loved coming back to the room to find these little surprises waiting for them. But here's a tip. Choose a room that's a bit further from the elevators. Unfortunately, some items did get swiped, hopefully by kids, and it seemed to happen more often in the high traffic areas, so keep that in mind if you're participating. Overall though, fish extenders can really add an extra layer of excitement to your Disney cruise. On a related note, let's talk about pixie dust. Even if you're not participating in the fish extender exchange, there's still a chance to experience some extra Disney magic. Random acts of kindness, known as pixie dusting, happen when fellow cruisers or even crew members leave small surprises for you, often outside your stateroom door. Want to increase your chances of getting pixie dusted? Simply hang a small bag or something similar outside your door. It's not guaranteed, but you never know when a little magic might come your way. One thing that can really take your Disney cruise experience to the next level: finding and using a great travel agent who truly specializes in Disney cruises. Not every travel agent is created equal. While many can technically book a Disney cruise, not all of them live and breathe it. A great Disney-focused agent knows all the ins and all the outs of the ship, the best ways to book activities, and the hidden tips to make your trip as magical as possible. A good agent will guide you through everything from what to pack, how to make the most out of your time on board. They'll prepare you for the experience so that there are no surprises when you get there. For example, we met what turned out to be a truly amazing Disney travel agent in the Roll Call Facebook group for our sailing leading up to our cruise on the Wish. And she showed us just how much better a great travel agent can make your experience. She sends all of her clients a 40-page detailed packet with everything they need to know ahead of time, making them feel fully prepared and supported. And as a Pearl-level Disney cruiser with more than 35 Disney cruises under her belt, she knows everything there is to know about Disney cruises, including a lot of the insider secrets that only a true Disney cruise fanatic would know. I've included her information in the description below, so if you're interested in working with a travel agent who is truly passionate about Disney cruises to make your own experience even better, you're definitely going to want to check that out. But guys, whether it's the travel agent we met or anybody else, be sure to choose someone with real Disney Cruise Line expertise. It makes a world of difference. Now, let's talk tech. If you've cruised on other lines, you're probably used to getting a daily program placed on your bed each night with all the next day's activities. In fact, this is one of the things we love coming back to every night. But on a Disney cruise, this is all done through the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app. They don't print anything out, so you're not going to be getting any of those notices or programs or bulletins on your bed in the evenings. It's a little disappointing, but you'll get used to it. You're going to find everything from daily schedules to dining information right there on your phone. And you can click the heart to mark your favorite activities each day so they're easy to find in the future. The app is super useful, but here's a heads up. The messaging feature leaves a bit to be desired. You may be better off finding an alternative like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger to stay connected with your family on the ship. With that said, trust me on this, having the app ready and updated before you board will make navigating your cruise so much easier. If you love water slides like we do, the Aqua Mouse is an absolute must on your Disney cruise. Or depending on which ship you're on, it may be the Aqua Duck or whatever, but on the Disney Wish, it was the Aqua Mouse. And it was more than just a water slide. It's a full-on water coaster with lights, sound effects, and a fun little story that plays as you twist and turn through the ride. You'll be propelled along a winding track with stunning ocean views, and there's even a surprise or two along the way. We rode it on embarkation day and managed to do it 7 times in less than 30 minutes, many times without even having to get off because we were the only ones there. One thing to note, if you're on the Disney Wish or probably the Treasure or the Destiny, that Aqua Mouse requires 2 people per raft. So if you're cruising solo or have an odd number in your group, you may end up riding with a stranger, which can be a little bit uncomfortable because the person in back has to put their legs to the sides of the person in front of them. So you could end up touching a stranger's legs. Perhaps not ideal. If this ride is on your list though, I highly recommend heading there as soon as you board. The lines are never as short short as they are early on day one, so take advantage of that and ride it as much as you can. You won't regret it. Let's talk about your onboard budget, aka your spending money. While much of what you will experience on your Disney cruise is included with the base fare, like the main dining room and sodas, there's still a lot that is not included, and those extras can add up quickly. Things like alcoholic beverages, specialty dining, Wi-Fi, and spa treatments will all cost extra. Plus, there's merchandise in the shops, photos taken by Disney photographers, and even certain onboard activities like mixology classes or bingo that are not covered by your cruise fare. It's a good idea to set aside a budget for these extras, especially since your kids will probably want to hit up the gift shop at least once. Knowing your spending limits ahead of time will help you enjoy your vacation without worrying about the sticker shock at the end. Speaking of onboard budget, if you're planning on doing some shopping while on board, here's a tip. The ship's stores are closed whenever the ship is in port. So if you've got your eye on some Disney merch or souvenirs, make sure to plan your shopping trips for sea days or evenings after you've set sail. On our final day of our short 3-day sailing, they were open until 11 o'clock in the evening, so you still had plenty of time at night, but you just need to make sure you plan for it. It's really easy to forget, especially if you're in the middle of having all the fun, so keep the store hours in mind and get those must-have items when the ship is sailing. One of the best parts of a Disney cruise are the incredible servers, especially when it comes to the dinner servers. These amazing crew members aren't just there to serve you a meal, they're like your personal cruise experts. And if you get a good one, they may even be your personal magicians as well. They rotate with you to different dining rooms each night, so you're really going to get to know them over the course of your cruise. And they can offer great advice on everything from onboard activities to what not to miss at Castaway Cay. Don't hesitate to ask them for tips or recommendations. They have a wealth of knowledge and they're dedicated to making your cruise as magical as possible. And guys, if they do make your trip magical, on the last evening when you go to dinner, you'll have an envelope that they will leave in your room. It's a way for you to show them, I really appreciate all you've done for me over the last several days, and this is a sign of my gratitude. They work really hard, so let's make sure that we show them our gratitude for it. Here's one for all the moms out there. Don't let mom guilt sneak in on your Disney cruise. Trust me when I tell you, your kids are going to love the onboard kids clubs. And don't feel bad or take it personally if they'd rather hang out there than exploring the ship with you. Whether it's the Oceaneer Club, Edge, or Vibe, these spaces are packed with activities and are designed to keep them entertained for hours. You'll probably want to spend a ton of time there, and that's perfectly okay. Let them enjoy the fun and take the time to relax and explore the ship yourself. This is your vacation too, and it's okay to let them have their fun while you take some time for yourself as well. One of the coolest things about a Disney cruise, fireworks at sea. Disney is one of the few cruise lines that offers this magical experience. So if you really want to make the most of it, here's a pro tip. Book a stateroom on the starboard side of the ship. That's the passenger side for my fellow Americans and the right side of the ship for our British friends. By doing so, you'll be able to watch the fireworks right from your private balcony without having to deal with the crowds on deck. I mentioned this tip in a Facebook group to somebody after our cruise, and they informed me that Disney actually doesn't want people on their balconies during the fireworks in case an ember were to land there. While I can certainly understand the concern, I'm not a Disney employee, I'm not paid or endorsed by Disney, so I'm sharing this tip because we saw a lot of people out on their balconies during the fireworks show, so I'm guessing this is more like a liability type thing where they tell you not to be out there versus something that they strictly enforce. But I'd be remiss not to mention this since somebody did inform me of it. For our family though, it was definitely the preferred way to take in the show. It was after 10 p.m. when the fireworks finally started, and our kids were already in their pajamas and ready for bed when the fireworks finally began. There's something magical though about watching the fireworks from our private balcony in pajamas before saying goodnight. Here's a quick but super helpful tip. Pay attention to the elevators. On our cruise on the Disney Wish, not every elevator went to every floor. But if you looked at the top left corner of the elevator frames above the doors, it would show you the highest floor each elevator reached. I assume it's going to be the same on upcoming Treasure and Destiny as well, since these will be the sister ships, but I don't know if the older ships in the Disney fleet have this. This can save you some confusion or potentially some steps, especially when you're heading up to the pool deck or one of those top floor activities. So keep an eye on it to make sure you're not stuck in an elevator. It doesn't get you where you need to go. Another thing to know is that shipwide announcements can be easy to miss. On Disney cruises, you're not going to hear these announcements inside your stateroom unless your TV is on and tuned to the right channel. This caught us off guard a couple of times as we raced to open our stateroom door to hear them without realizing we could also just turn our TV on. So if you're waiting for important information like updates on events or disembarkation details, make sure you have the TV on and keep an ear out while you're around the ship. Here's a small but super handy tip. Bring a few plastic bags with you, as these will really come in handy at the end of your cruise when it's time to pack up. If you've been to the pool or beach on the last day, there's a good chance your clothes or swimsuits won't have time to fully dry. Just toss them in a plastic bag to keep the rest of your luggage dry and avoid that last minute scramble for something to put wet items in. Here's a tip that not everyone knows. You don't have to hit the buffet for breakfast and lunch. Disney offers sit-down dining options in the main dining rooms for both meals. It's going to be different which ones they're in on different ships, so you want to find that out in advance, but on all of them there are sit-down options, and they're a great way to enjoy a more relaxed, quieter meal without the crowds. You'll get a full menu with table service, and honestly, it's perfect if you're simply not in the mood to battle those long buffet lines. And also, don't forget about room service. This is included with your fare, and it's available 24/7 until 1:30 a.m. on the last day of your cruise. So whether it's breakfast in your room or a late night snack, room service is a convenient and fun way to enjoy meals without even having to leave your room. Let's talk about internet access on board. If you're planning to stay connected while on your Disney cruise, just know the internet can be pretty unreliable. Even with the premium package, which costs a whopping $42 per day per device, we found speeds to be extremely slow, with speed tests showing less than 3 megabits per second. And there were frequent drops in service. In fact, they said the Wi-Fi worked at Castaway Key, but while we were there, it didn't work at all. So just be aware that while you may pay a premium for the service, it may not even work as advertised. Now, I know some of you are going to say, hey, I take a cruise to fully disconnect, and I totally commend you for that. But for some of us who still need connectivity, just be prepared. It's not the best, and it's very expensive. So if staying connected is important to you, manage your expectations, or better yet, use it as an excuse to unplug and enjoy the vacation. If you've cruised on the other cruise lines post-COVID, you may be used to this super easy muster drills where you just swing by your muster station on your own time and get your SeaPass scanned. But on a Disney cruise, it's a bit more old school. Everyone has to show up at the same time on embarkation day. On ours, that was at 3:30 p.m. You stand in this super long line, then you get seated in a dining room, and you go through a safety briefing together. And once it's done, you're released. But again, you're fighting a huge crowd to get out of this cramped doorway. It was not ideal. Not a huge deal, but it's something to be aware of, that you do have that one final hurdle that you need to get through before you can truly begin to fully embrace the Disney magic. Another thing to make sure you're aware of is the online check-in process with Disney Cruise Line. When you're able to check in is done based on your loyalty tier within the Disney Castaway Club. Pearl members, those with the highest loyalty status with Disney Cruise Line, can check in 40 days before embarkation. And then as the days progress, the lower tiers can check in. And unfortunately, if this is going to be your first Disney cruise, that means you will be the last group to be able to check in, which will be 30 days before you're sailing at midnight. So that means if you want the earliest still available port arrival time, you're going to have to stay up to midnight to complete your check-in 30 days in advance. Not ideal, but it's just one of the things you have to do. On the day of your cruise, you'll want to arrive at the terminal no sooner than 30 minutes before your port arrival time that you got during your online check-in. Unlike other cruise lines where your check-in times on the day of the cruise are not really strictly enforced, allowing you to arrive early if you need to, Disney is extremely strict with theirs. In fact, on our recent Disney cruise, we were on a different cruise that disembarked the morning we boarded the Disney Wish, and we had to be off that previous ship no later than 9 a.m., which meant we got to our Disney cruise 2 hours early because we had all our bags with us and there was nowhere else to go. I thought perhaps they'd allow us to at least wait inside in the air conditioning, but I was wrong. We were forced to wait on the concrete outside in the heat and humidity of Florida in the summer for 2 hours before it was time for our group to check in. Trust me, it was not ideal. So just make sure that you plan to get to the terminal, whether you're driving or Uber or whatever it is, 30 minutes before your port arrival time, which gives you time to get your things out of your car, get parked, get settled, and then show up there ready to go. And then you will show up at the right time. But if you get there early like we did, just be prepared to wait, and it might be hot or it could be cold. Although it's Florida, it's probably not going to be too cold. Alright y'all, before we get to this last big money saving tip, I want to take a quick moment to ask you for a favor. If you've enjoyed this video and you found these tips helpful, it would mean the world to me if you could hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. I'm passionate about creating content to help people create their own amazing cruise memories, and a quick like and subscribe lets YouTube know that I'm creating content that helps, which encourages them to share this video with even more people like you. And one more thing, after this tip, I'm going to be sharing a link to our vlog episode that inspired many of these tips, where we showcase the Disney Wish and share our experience on board. So if you want to make the most of your Disney cruise, be sure to check that out so you can get an idea of exactly what to expect on your cruise. It's packed with even more insights and fun moments, and it's really just something to take a look at. So with that out of the way, let's get to our final tip. If you're anything like us, you're going to have an amazing time on your Disney cruise, and you'll be dreaming of the next one before this one is even over. So if that sounds like you, here's a tip. Take advantage of the next cruise offer while you're on board. With this, you can place a refundable deposit toward a future Disney cruise, and you'll save 10% on that booking. It's a great way to lock in a discount for your next magical adventure, and you don't even have to decide on the dates right away. Just make the deposit and you'll have time to figure out the details later. Alright guys, that is it. Congrats! If you are still with me, you're well on your way to experiencing a truly magical Disney cruise. I hope these tips help make your first Disney cruise or your 10th, whatever it may be, as special as ours was. Thank you so much for watching and for being a part of the Family at Sea community. Until next time, y'all, smooth seas, happy sails, and here's to making incredible memories on your next cruise vacation. Bon voyage!